going on, guys? I'm back with my last video for my 31 Days of Halloween Marathon, and today we're doing one of my favorite films of all time, regardless of genre, Halloween. On a cold Halloween night in 1963, 6-year-old Michael Myers brutally murdered his 17-year-old sister Judith and was sentenced and locked away for 15 years. But on October 30th, 1978, while being transferred for a court date, a 21-year-old Michael Myers steals a car and escapes from Smith's Grove. He returns to his quiet hometown of Haddonfield, Illinois, where he looks for his next victims. So right off the bat, Halloween is definitely one of, if not the king of the godfathers of the slasher genre, being what basically kickstarted the genre and all the tropes you see in today's slasher films. This is just a personal opinion, but for me, there is a couple issues with the film, but when looking back at it, it's pretty easy to overlook them, with this coming across as a timeless classic and a must-watch every year, being so masterfully crafted. My first positive of the film, and the absolute showstopper, would be the direction by John Carpenter. The shot composition in this film is just absolutely tremendous, with things are in the foreground, the background, out of focus, in focus, and tons of camera suggestions as well. But when you boil everything down, Halloween just has so many memorable shots. Carpenter does an amazing job adding so much tension and suspense with this camera work, again, having a variety of different angles like his handheld shots, the POV takes, the long lingering shots that make you feel uneasy, the slow pondering shots, and so on and so forth. When looking back at it, this film has so much personality, not just because of the concept, but because Carpenter's gritty yet masterful style for horror. My next positive is the story itself. Halloween doesn't dig too deep, where a film like this, especially around the time it was made, you wouldn't really expect a deep premise, nor really need one. It has no fat to the bone, giving us such a chilling opening scene to really set that unsettling tone and give us a glimpse of what's to come. Then you couple that with tremendous tension and suspense building through the second act, even when Michael Myers isn't even on the screen, while allowing us to get close to a few characters, and then it all wraps up with such a satisfying third act that's actually frightening, making all the setup beforehand pay off extremely well. What more can you really ask for, right? The next positive I have, and I feel is kind of an underrated one, the script. Just like the story, you wouldn't really come to expect these type of films to have a groundbreaking screenplay, where this one still doesn't blow the doors down, but it still showed some decent range. There was some unexpected laughs here and there, some chilling bits here and there as well, and then the laid back parts to even everything out. The tones were all well balanced and concentrated, keeping the story and everything else around it really tight. One thing I feel can get overlooked because you witness it is the way they describe Michael and give his backstory. It's very chilling and sets the evil tone that's present all throughout the film. Some may take it as lazy because it's given to you through a monologue, but that monologue is one of the best pieces of the script, period. Now, for one of the other massive positives, the characters. To get them out of the way, the side characters were just fine. They facilitated the plot while also not making the film feel like a Call of Duty lobby being bodies to a kill count. Now, the real stars of the show was Laurie Strode, played by Jamie Lee Curtis in her debut, Dr. Loomis, played by the late Donald Pleasence, and of course, Michael Myers. So right off the rip, Michael Myers is so iconic, to the point where people still to this day, nearly 50 years later, dress up as him every year for Halloween, where he is definitely my favorite slasher villain anyways. He is extremely menacing and possesses such a real threat, where it's to the point when he isn't even in the shot, you can almost feel his presence. You can definitely tell they were setting up for sequels to come, because his character didn't really get completely fleshed out, but I don't think it was all that necessary, because the information we do get works just fine and really sets a firm precedence. Another good addition being a real solid lead was Jamie Lee Curtis. Her character was well done, not coming off dumb or slutty or tropey, but mature and well aware. She also had this sense of vulnerability to her as well, so it didn't feel like she was never not in danger, and if you weren't invested in her character straight away, you definitely will be rooting for her by the third act. Then when it comes to Dr. Loomis, he was such a great addition as well, being an awesome over-the-top character that adds a great sense of realism to the film and helps ground it as well. While everyone else was pretty laid back for almost the entire film, he brings this great sense of urgency to the cast, where the way he speaks about Michael is incredibly unsettling. Another major positive to the film, again that feels a little overlooked, is the action and the kills. As a slasher film, there isn't a tremendous deal of killings, which in my opinion makes the film all the more impressive with how investing it is, but when they are present, they're done in such a fresh way, being super gritty and well built up, to the point it can stick with you for a long time after you watch the film. There is one specific kill in that film that stuck with me since I was younger, deserving to be all over everyone's top 10 kills for a slasher film because of how gruesome and memorable it is. And my last positive, again, it's almost like the film is underrated, but another underrated bit to it is the score and production design. The score is truly iconic, adding so much suspense and tension to each scene, being well placed and not overused. When it comes to the production design, it gives the film such a genuine scary feel to it by how cheap it was presented without only having a $300,000 budget. I think the actual mask itself was a William Shatner mask that was spray painted white that was worth $2 at an iPod store. So that just goes to show, especially for horror films, you don't need a massive budget for it to be good. Stick to practical effects and the realistic ambiance, and it'll all succeed if everything else follows suit. As much as I've been glazing this film, it doesn't come without at least a few flaws. With this film being nearly 50 years old, some of the things can come off a bit mishandled, like some of the edits or sound choices, where this film also did start the horror tropes, like don't have sex, falling while you're running, and going into the dark areas to check out a noise. Another small issue that struck me as a bit off was some of the acting, where some of the side characters come off a bit wooden. One of my smaller nitpicks I have while we're on the subject, I don't know what time the climax was meant to be set at, but for it being Halloween, the suburbs of Illinois were quite quiet, but that's just a small nitpick. Overall, this film isn't perfect, but it's my kind of perfect, because damn it, it is great. It's amazing how this film became so successful and continues to live on for generations to come. Halloween gets a 9 out of 10 from me. It's kind of sad, but this is the end of my 31 Days of Halloween marathon. I hope you guys enjoyed, but as always, let me know what you think in the comments below, and let me know what film you'd like to see me review next. See you guys on the next one.